Hello there, how you doing? So this is day two of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival for me. I'm here with the show Shaolin Clown, and the flyer is all wrinkled. It doesn't matter. And today in this live feed, I'm just gonna tell you about the story of the show, how the show, why was the show designed the way it is? How did I get the idea of the show? And so on and so forth. Every story has a story, so to speak. Every show has a story, and this goes back to 2014, and it's inspired by a book. And I'm saying this because I had the pleasure 3 days ago, I can't remember, to have the person writing this particular book get in touch with me via Instagram. That was a big surprise. And so in a way, I also shooting this video, crediting this person for the fact that he, by writing this book, was a major inspiration to actually develop this show. Okay. Uh, the show doesn't have anything to do with the book. That is to say, uh, it's not a story which is actually based on this book, but it was really inspired by it, and you'll understand why as I go along. Sorry, I'm stretching my leg right now as I'm shooting this video. And today, by the way, this is day two. It's the 4th of August. I have two shows. So I'm supposed to perform later on at 7:20 p.m. at Banshee Labyrinth, a chamber room here in Edinburgh. Whereas normally I perform at a new venue, which is titled Little Plaza, kind of outside of the city center. And I'm doing the Free Fringe. So for the people who are joining this channel for the first time, the PBH Free Fringe. I already explained why I was doing that and in a previous video, so I don't think I gotta repeat myself. So let's go back to 2014 because this idea took birth in 2014. Now, I've written a lot of shows. You can go on Amazon, you're gonna find a lot of those. Not all of them, actually. During my stay here at Edinburgh, there's some things I have to do. Number one, I'm still managing my theater company and my talent agency. Number two, I need to publish another two books on Amazon of two plays, actually three plays I've written. So what I do usually, if once I've written a play, I publish it on Amazon. Now, this writing stuff, as explained in previous videos, I am Lecoq trained, so physical theater. So my writing is very much like the writing for cinema. That is to say, you read the script, but really what is important is what you see, not what you read. And when working with other actors, they usually the first 99% of the actors that I hire, sometimes I write for other actors, I work with other actors. The first thing they tell me is, well, can you give me the lines? And that's not really important for me. I know it's counterintuitive. I usually say, well, what is important is what we do. So, you know, everybody can learn lines. It's not a problem. But the fact of transmitting something physically, you gotta be trained for it. So usually when I work with other actors, by and large, unless I find myself in dire straits, I like to work with people who study Lecoq. I may get somebody else on board who did not study Lecoq, but then I gotta do some Lecoq training in between. So I know, I have to explain, okay, this is a double glance, we gotta do the Jack Trouvet, and so on and so forth. I do a bit of puppetry in my shows. There are instances, masks are used. And really, I did, even before I did, I think I'm a personal example to this. Now, before I did Lecoq, I wrote a lot. My dream in life was to become a screenwriter. So I write a lot, and I did write before. And I have a past as a stand-up comedian, but I had no idea you could use your body and transmit emotions with your body in the range of expressions which you can do once you're trained for that in a way. So I'm a complete different person before and after my training. Okay. And then, of course, you gain experience as you go along, and so on and so forth. So I've been doing this profession now for over 15 years. I was doing that before, but I was not a full-time actor. And so I decided for a number of reasons to become a working actor like 15 years ago. Anyway, let's go back to 2014. So 2014, I was in Germany, in Berlin, and I was living there. It was one of those sort of that year. A lot of stuff happened, and basically, I will not reveal everything. Like my personal. I think people need privacy, okay, even nowadays. But it was a transformational year. So I was in Berlin, and I can speak German, but my German is not as fluent as my English. It is very fluent now for a number of reasons because since 2014 I was like literally applying myself, studying German. If not daily, I'm doing it daily right now, but you know, constantly, so to speak. And it's a language I like very much, by the way. It doesn't feel foreign at all to me. So I was in Germany, I was in Berlin, and I am in a library in Berlin. And really, the first month in Berlin, all I did was study German. So I went to this sort of Deutsche Schule, learning German. And but I got really stressed out because one, I wasn't doing any stage work, and really for me, stage is a necessity. As absurd as it may look like, it makes me very, very stable. And then there was the fact that I was living in Berlin, and when you do my kind of job, you just never know what to expect from the future. Everything it's like dark. It's like living a film, which is good in a way, but it comes with a bit of anxiety. And that's already something that I think it cuts out 70% of the general population because people would not accept living that way at all. But I was living in Berlin, like I said, and studying German and so on and so forth. And I started to get, kind of stressed out. So I started smoking, okay, cigarettes. I don't smoke that much, but I was smoking like a couple of three cigarettes a day or something like that. And I was in this library and forgot where, and then I was like browsing book through this sort of spiritual section, you could say, or something like that. And I don't remember exactly, but what happened is this: I'm a big fan of fan. I don't know. One person that really kind of influenced my life was Alan Watts. Now I'm not a Buddhist, first of all. I'm a lazy Catholic. Although I did the St. James walk. I like Latin masses. Sometimes when I speak to people, I say I'm a medieval Catholic. So because I find Latin masses very spiritual. They instead of if I go to normal masses, they drain my energy. When I go to Latin masses, the old Catholic rituals and so on, I kind of absorb energy. I don't know. It's so. But I'm very interested. I'm very curious as a person. So I was browsing this section, and I fell into this book. And the title of this book was in German was Shaolin, du musst nicht kämpfen um zu siegen, which sounds very aggressive in German. I don't know, but basically means Shaolin, you must not fight in order to win. And the writer of this, I hope I get the pronunciation correct. I think it's Bernhard Moestl. Okay, the writer of this book. So I'm browsing my other phone right here, and so this is like a big. Sorry, it's not a library. I got confused. It's a bookstore. I'm in this bookstore in Germany. Okay, now in central Berlin, a large bookstore with a fantastic cafe on the top of it. Could have been Charlottenburg, but I'm not sure. And it's a neighborhood of Berlin. And I'm in this bookstore. And in this bookstore, this bookstore kind of feels like a library because even if you don't buy a book, you can actually take books. And there's like couches and sofas everywhere on this sort of floor. And you can stay there and just browse the book and then decide whether you're gonna buy it or not. So I take this book, I kind of browse it, and it looks like a cool book. And as I was learning German, I wanted to read something in German. Of course, you want to read something which is yes, may match your level, but at the same time must be something that engages you emotionally. Okay, so and I was really, I was clicked, I was triggered by the content of this book. So I kind of forgot about it. I put the book back on the shelf, get a coffee, walk out, and then the next day I decided to buy the book. And so I was in Berlin, like it was June, it was summertime, and one thing about Berlin, which is a beautiful city, when when the sun comes up, everybody in Berlin is on the street, okay? And so what I used to do in the morning, I would spend an hour on the book, trying to understand also some words and so on and so forth. And the old book is about Shaolin philosophy. It's not about martial arts. Now, Shaolin are Buddhist monks. Okay, I give you the bad version of the story. Okay, Buddhist monks, they come from a particular part of China, and they learn to fight in order to defend themselves from vagabonds, criminals, assaulting them in the mountains and stuff like that. So, and they developed this sort of martial art, which is kung fu, which at the core is divided in various styles and represents a number of animals. So if you see the movie Kung Fu Panda, so there's like cobra, monkey, and so on and so forth. And the book was telling about the mental attitude of a Shaolin monk. Okay, the philosophy that basically drives his daily life. And I'm shooting this because previously I showed another live feed where I was speaking about the kind of mental attitude you need to have when you do the Edinburgh Fringe. So the two things are related. So in a period where I was like stressed out and a bit anxious and so on, I found that book very soothing. Okay, and I said, this is very cool. I want to follow these principles. No, I didn't want to change religion, but just saying the attitude. Okay, so I remember one of the principles was living in the present. It's cliche. You know. And another one is the principle of imitation. To imitate other beings in life in order to adapt to a situation. And so if you're speaking about kung fu styles, there's the style of the monkey, the style of the cobra, and so on, and other principles. And basically, it was a total of 12 principles. It's funny, I never wrote them down. Another one was the principle of slowness, taking things very slowly, and stuff like that. So what I did, accidentally, I walked inside a Berlin open mic, and I started performing visually because my German was not too good. Like I said, I also do spoken shows, but my German at the time was not so good. And then I had the pleasure this February to do a whole show, 70 minutes long, in German, Mussolini, in the city of Münster. But anyway, so you see, when you apply yourself, and so I do a gig at this stand-up comedy open mic. I wasn't doing stand-up comedy, but I actually was the only guy that wasn't doing stand-up comedy because I was doing visual, and it's good. You got a lineup of 7 stand-up comedians, and you're the only guy who does visual comedy. Doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna stand out. You're different from the rest. And then I just said, I just felt very well. Like I said, I am a stage addict. So I said, I need another fix of this. So I basically fast forward 1 week and I'm kind of doing the old Berlin open mic scene, okay? Which is quite large. You can actually perform even every day, okay? And then I decide, inspired by this book, so thanks a lot, Bernhard Moestl, to take a Kung Fu course. And I'm taking this Kung Fu course in Berlin in German. That helps my German, of course, and stuff like that. And Kung Fu is very cool as a martial art. I do physical theater, and the movements, even Tai Chi, in the case you don't know it, it's a martial art, okay? Even if it appears very slow and it seems like gymnastics, in reality, it is a martial art. And Kung Fu is just like so elegant, the movements and so on. Maybe it's not effective as other martial arts, I don't care, but it just looks very beautiful, okay? and also physically it makes you very flexible and stuff like that. So I even went to see a Shaolin. There's like a Shaolin monastery in Berlin. Yeah, I think it's a monastery where they teach kung fu. So I went to see a demonstration there of students. Pretty amazing. So I really got into the Shaolin kung fu and stuff like that. And then I start to play in Berlin with this cat who is a Shaolin monk. So basically, I bought myself, well, I had it already, given that I was following this kung fu course, a kung fu suit, and I go to this place which is called Kookaburra in Berlin, run by this guy Sanjay. I think he's still running the place. And what they do on Sunday, they have these comedy nights, okay? And I will go there every Sunday, and I would go to other places, but that place in particular was the one I liked the most because all the other places are kind of underground, so to speak, but that one was like a proper stage. So, and I filmed myself. Now, when I develop physical comedy shows, I always have a camera with me. I got a camera with me right now, and I was taping myself, recording myself daily in Avignon. I'm gonna do the same here. I still haven't started to do that because I need to get used to the venue. It's not that easy. I don't know where to put the camera and so on. But I'll probably start from tomorrow doing that. Okay, because you can in your head you can write the main concept, but you really have to discover the nuances of the show as you go along. So that's why you need so many performances. And by the time I would have finished Edinburgh, I think I would have performed this show like 50 times, if not 60. Okay? It's a completely different show from when you start. And so what happened? I'm in Berlin. I stay in Berlin, and then return back to Italy in the end of October, and and I have the kata. But in my head, I always wanted to do a show, a 50-minute long show by myself, based on the concept of the book. I really like the concept. I mean, because a concept gives you, it kind of gives you a road to follow, okay? So, just stayed on my mind. I kind of forgot about it. At time I would play with this kata if I found myself several times in open mics or situations where, cabaret variety situations. But my life goes on. I write at the shows. I set up my company. I organize a physical theater festival. I do lots of stuff. I tour. And then in 2022, what happens is I go to Vietnam. I said that before, but maybe you're listening to this for the first time. I go to Vietnam in 2022, and I do a tour in Vietnam, and I got the shirt here. Just a second, bear with me. This is a shirt I bought from my tour. Okay, Vietnam. So I go to Vietnam, and I go to South Korea, and I do one of my two. I have another two physical comedy shows. Okay, but unfortunately, I had to retrain the actor I usually doing the show with, and I found that very tiring. Number one, and number two, there's a Chinese saying that says, about a couple who may be on the verge of divorce. It's a great proverb. He says they're sleeping in the same bed, but they are dreaming different dreams. And I was unable to find somebody, a partner, a stage partner, who had my same dreams. Even the person I retrained just did not have the same dreams, the same vision, the same will. And this is our life, you got a tour and so on. And so I said, well, that's it. I gotta do a solo silent comedy show. That's it. So it really was born out of necessity, so to speak. And so I go to Estonia in 2023 to a minuscule Fringe festival, and I do 5 performances of what is gonna become Shaolin Clown, and it works. And I'm gonna speak about that later on, probably another live feed, because I was heavily influenced by another clown, by a podcast I heard from a Canadian clown, of which I don't remember the name. Of whom, sorry, I don't remember the name. And but I had the pleasure to see this guy live in Avignon. So I'm gonna do another live feed about that. And I am in Estonia, and I listen to this podcast, and I say, that's it. That's the way I want to do it. Okay. And for the people that create shows, this is an intriguing story. So I wanna, I'm gonna give you a cliffhanger there to be continued. Okay. So I developed the show, and then fall and winter comes. I work a lot in the fall and winter, like a lot, because I gotta organize shows. I take them to schools. I went to Germany. I went to China. I went to India, and then usually in the summer. Yeah. By the way, I was saying that I was really sort of anxious for the month in Berlin. As soon as I started doing the stage, boom, quit smoking. I was cool. I was happy. So it's okay. It's the way I am built. This is very personal. Other people will not be the same way at all. Okay. So usually the summer really gets me. I don't work that much in the summer. Which is an overstatement. Just look at the cliff. I can see the cliff here. There's a cliff here. Okay, I don't know the name of this cliff. I'll just show you. I'll just show it to you. You see, that's a window. You see the cliff up there. You see people. And legend says that's a cliff where people, where artists sometimes jump from after they do the Edinburgh Fringe. They sort of jump from the cliff because they want to kill themselves. So I shouldn't laugh about that, but that's an extreme. I mean, this experience can get you really depressed if you're not taking this with the right mental attitude. Okay, that I'm gonna tell you about today. And yeah, show the cliff again. It's beautiful. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so um, so no, it's not true. It's not I'm not working. Okay, what I'm doing during the summer, I develop new shows, or I do festivals. So that was a stupid thing to say. Uh, you see, to me, it doesn't look like work. It looks like a holiday, but it is work. Okay. And so in 2022, I did the Avignon Off Festival, did it again in 2023. Then I wrote a guy, 100-page long. All of this to me, it doesn't look like work. This is like holiday, okay? So whenever I'm not, for me, work is, okay, I'm working, I'm getting a fee, I'm getting paid and stuff like that. But usually what I do, and I know, when you do these festivals, Avignon Off, Edinburgh, I know you got a loss. And you don't do those festivals with the idea, or you're gonna make money or something like that. You're doing those festivals with the idea, okay, I am producing a prototype which later I'm going to sell. Okay, so that's the attitude really. But usually in the summer I get restless. Yeah. So either I like traveling and walking. I walk a lot, a lot. Walking a lot means that I did the St. James Way in Spain, the old 1,000 kilometers from Saint Jean Pierre du Port to Finisterre. And then another summer, what I did, I walked from my hometown Turin to the city of Arles in France. That's 525 kilometers crossing the Alps. Never again in my life. I actually wrote a book about that. So there's a guide. It's called Via Domitia. Domitius was a Roman consul. And so usually in the summer, I like traveling, working ideas, watching other shows. Going back to Alan Watts, one thing you would say is that you cannot give all the time. There's a moment you gotta absorb, another one you gotta give. So it's your concept of yin yang, conserving energy, releasing energy, and then so. But yeah, but like I said, so I said to myself for a number of reasons. Well, this summer, why don't you? Well, basically, I had to. I'm afraid I cannot tell you the whole story, but basically, I had to change the whole sort of organizational structure with which I manage my shows, and so out of necessity, basically, it was necessary for me to tour the whole summer. Okay, I know it sounds crazy, but it is what it is. So this was pre-planned. So in September, October, I said, okay, I'm gonna spend the month of June doing Avignon, okay, and I was supposed just to do Avignon, but then you know, I know the Prague Fringe, so I proposed the idea. They actually got me on board the Prague Fringe as well. So Saturday I was doing the Prague Fringe. Then the person running the venue in Avignon, who I know very, very well, I basically asked for the flop slot. You know, there are the top slots and the flop slots. But, you know, I'm not a rich person at all. I'm very good at juggling money, that is to say, you know, handling resources and so on and so forth. I would consider myself an entrepreneur of the business, but you know, Prague, Avignon, the travel and so on. So I said I wanted the flop venue because in my mind the objective was to hone this to perfection. Okay, I wasn't concerned about having programmers and stuff like that. And I took this with the same attitude. This is very bizarre, but basically the whole adventure of developing this show and going back to the book, Shaolin, you must not fight in order to win. I took it with the same attitude the show is about. That is to say, I said, oh, forget about the future, forget about expectations, forget about the fact I'm gonna meet programmers or stuff like that. I just gonna do the show and see what happens. Okay. So basically, I got the flop slot in Avignon, which was 23:30, close to midnight. I was the last show of the festival. Basically, I closed the festival. Okay, they gave me the keys to the festival, and I closed the door when the festival was over. And so at the end of April, out of the blue, this venue manager calls me and says, "Oh, do you wanna come?" And it's like, if you go to Avignon, you got like 15 days in which you have to register yourself for the shows and so on in order to appear in the brochure. And I said, yeah, so yes, but I haggled on the price, so I was able to, because nobody wants to go. Like I said, it's a flop situation. Nobody wants to go and perform at that time. I wouldn't care less in my case. So I haggled for the price a little bit, and I closed that deal as well. So I was going to Prague and I was going to Avignon. Okay, and in order to save money, I decided not to appear in the paper brochure of the Avignon Art Festival. Okay, and I just applied to appear in the online app and on the website, and you save like 250 euro by doing that. Guess what? They made a mistake and appeared on the paper brochure anyway. That's funny. And I'm a happy guy. Sorry, sometimes I laugh, but it is, yeah, why should I be sorry? I'm a happy guy. Well, anyway, doesn't matter. This is so British. And you know, one thing about the British, this is a clown game as well. They always say they're sorry. One thing, when you go to live in Germany, they're not sorry at all. So one thing that really puts you out when you go to Germany, if you're British, people will say no in German. Nine. So whereas here, you know, somebody cannot, you know, stupid question like you are someone and you say, well, can I use that? Can I use that pen, please? And a Brit would say, no, I'm sorry, you can't. I'm sorry, you can't use that pen. But you go to Germany, you say, can I use that pen? And they go, nine. Yeah, something I never seen in the movie, but it really puts you off for a second because it sounds so harsh. But it goes back to childhood. Basically, they teach German kids since they are small to say no. I think that's very good, by the way. So basically, by and large, Germans would be very sincere. With a Brit, you always have to, you know, you have to interpret what this person is saying. Sorry, digressing here. But anyway, I got lost. Where was I? So Avignon off. Prague, get the flop venue, the flop slot, sorry, at Avignon off, and I decided to do the hat. I didn't want my show to be ticketed because I know how hard it is to sell tickets at that time, and that was a right decision. Okay, so and in between, what happens? I do the Prague Fringe, and then this person running this venue in Athens gets in touch. Doesn't call me. She sends me a message. She gets in touch with me and she says, I see what you're doing. Would you like to do it here? And I say, yes, of course. So I do Prague, I do Athens 2 days. I go to Avignon. I do the old run in Avignon, and now I'm here. Okay. And basically the attitude, so going back to this book, I said, well, I don't care what happens. Let's do the free fringe because you don't pay for the venue, and let's bring this show to perfection. And now it is. I mean, it got to the point where really I'm having fun doing it, and I'm having fun discovering what I can still do. So today, to give an example, I experimented with the laughter of this kata, which is kind of based on a monkey, So yeah, and so probably in another video I'm still gonna speak about the show. Like I said, been going on for half an hour, but the whole show is based on this premise, which was very important for me. Number one, it had to be a solo show. Number two, I didn't want any audience interaction whatsoever on the stage. One thing I hate, and I'm reminding you, I'm a programmer as well. I run a festival for 3 years. I think I watched close to 2,000 shows in my life, easily. Okay, just for the festival I organized, I had to watch the videos, 150 shows a year, plus the shows. I watch a show here. If you are here at the Edinburgh Fringe, the biggest mistake you can do is not to watch other people's shows. And I watched one already. Today I'm performing twice, and then I got the brochure here. Here it is. Gotta speak about that as well. So this is a brochure of the festival. I mean, can you imagine? So basically, last night I was looking at all the shows I want to see. Okay, not only physical comedy. I don't know. Taking a guy, for example, this guy, Shitty Mozart. Okay, I know the title is horrible, but anyway. So I circled this. I said I gotta see this guy, because I'm interested in music as well. I compose. So like I said, okay, I'm gonna do the PBH Fringe and so on. So the way the show is devised is that one, I'm solo. Number two, I didn't want anybody on the stage. I'm on the stage, which is a sacred space for me, and the audience is over there. Also because in my head, and this is very important, I spoke about that in another video, I was going to play this in a big, huge venue of 1,000 people. Okay, whenever I develop something, I think big. I don't think small. I think 1,000 people. Okay, so if you're playing 1,000 people, there are exceptions to this. There's a clown called Leandro who does something that is an exception to this, but usually you don't want somebody on the stage. It's very cheap. And I just wanted to be in my own space. And also, so I created the situation that allows for that. I'm gonna speak about that in another video. And yeah, so basically and I want it to be 50 minutes long, on the spot. So the show really is 50 minutes long, because another thing I didn't want to rely on a technician for the sound. So what I do, I just have a one soundtrack with gaps in between. I'm gonna speak about that in detail when I speak about that Canadian clown I mentioned. Okay, and I think this is the only show which I will analyze to the minute details I ever produced. Okay, because I produced a lot. Go back to Amazon. So, but in this case, I just have fun. It's so fun. And so I basically did the show in Prague, in Avignon off, and I'm doing the same show here without a technician. And another thing I do with all my shows, not just this one, they have to work with standard sorry, a standard whitewash, as far as the lighting is concerned. Um, I do the lighting. I then do the lighting with some shows, okay, light design, but they gotta work with a standard whitewash. Why is that? Well, because I'm touring, okay, and when you tour, you never know what kind of venue you're gonna perform in. So uh, for me, it is a necessity to have the show working no matter what. So I never devise a show which is based on lighting. Based on lighting means that unless you have that particular lighting setup, you're not gonna do the show. No, I gotta do the show in every kind of situation, and that's good. Once you have the lighting, it's like the cherry on the cake in a way. But that's the way I work. And another thing I had clear in my mind when I devised the show it had to fit a rucksack. So I have a rucksack here, and basically, plus some item of personal clothing, the whole show fits here. Okay, and this is the standard rucksack I can put underneath the seat of a plane. And that's why I'm able to go to Athens or Prague and so on and move easily, because I hop on a Ryanair flight. Usually I fly Ryanair. Sorry, they don't pay me for saying this, but yeah, I just put the rucksack underneath the seat, and I can travel everywhere. So it's a very easy show to move with. Okay, this is what I devised, and that's not easy. It takes a lot of experience to do that. I mean, the most difficult thing you can do is to do something which is silent comedy without any props whatsoever. Zero. You can do that, but that's very difficult. Okay, you need a particular cat, a story, stuff like that. So yeah, so those are the things I had in my mind, and based on the book, I said, okay, I'm gonna do these festivals and see what happens. Okay, so yesterday I had two people watching my show. I told you that. Very grateful to them. Today I had one person. And what happened in Avignon and what happened in Prague and what is probably going to happen here is word of mouth worked, and then at the end I had like full crowd. So for example, in Avignon, I started with like I said, it's a tough slot. I started with one person, then another person came, then another one, and then it grew and grew and grew, and at the end I had like 20 people coming every night. Okay, from all over, on contact one, blah blah blah. In Prague, I had like three people first day, maybe five the second day, and then I did five performances there. The final day was sold out, and it's also difficult to sell these kind of shows because as you're looking at the guide, the Edinburgh guide is what I would call alternative comedy. Okay, this is a guy right here. But really, to stand out of the crowd is just very difficult. If you do something which is original in a way, it's much harder. Okay, but why is that? Well, because people are not used to that, you know. And so when I did the Italian Fringe, for example, in Estonia, I had this group of Pakistani engineers living in Estonia coming to watch the show, and they said one thing. They said to me, "It's incredible, when we looked at the poster of the show, we thought it was going to be, a guy doing magic tricks, clown. The word clown comes with a stereotype, but what you did is something completely different, and we're just glued to the stage watching you." Okay? They said that. I'm not saying that to boast or anything like that. And they said, I asked them about that. They said this could work in Pakistan, this could work in Iraq, this could work anywhere. And I've actually applied to a couple of festivals in the Middle East. So yeah, so that's the attitude really. And today I had one person, Donka. I was thinking, very grateful to this person, by the way. Word of mouth, another artist told at the PBH Fringe told you about me, and I said, yeah, let's do it. I had so much fun, and I played with the laughter because in my mind, every show is different. I'm not doing the same show, okay? And I learned that from a clown, Paolo Nani, and it's when we're discussing that. But it's also based on a book about Zen, so going back to Zen philosophy and so on. I'm kind of obsessed with that. The book is Zen and the Art of Archery, written by a German writer, another German writer, forgot his name. And basically, the book is just like this thing. I suggest you read it. I think it's an inspirational book if you're doing clowning or stage work. But the art of archery looks very easy. I mean, you basically pick up an arrow from your quiver and you throw the arrow. Looks easy, but it's not easy at all. So the book kind of makes you understand that it takes like 10 years to do it properly. And also, every time you do it, it's different. There are billions of ways in which the archer, okay, can pick up the arrow from the quiver. Just billions, literally billions. I can do it both hands. I can do it this way. I can do it fast. I can do it slow. I can do it, quivering and so on and so forth. Now imagine a 15-minute show which is purely physical. They're like trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions of ways you can do the same show. So today I said, okay, there's one person in front of me, good. I use the technique I usually use. I told you that in another video. So I said, very grateful you're here, and I explained a bit about the show, and let's do the show together. Relax. And this guy had fun, and that's how it works. Word of mouth, word of mouth, and. And I said to myself, okay, today I'm going to experiment on laughter. So I was really concentrating on laughter, and also I was yeah, mostly it was about laughter. Also experimenting on some other stuff, but like minor stuff, really minor. You know, you kind of become upset. How do you take a chat, for example, and so on. It's okay. You should see the show. So I'm just digressing here. So that's the merit of this book. It kind of told me it's not a Bible, okay? It's not. So Bernhard Moestl, thank you very much. Okay, I'm not gonna build a shrine with your picture, but what I'm saying is, it certainly has influenced my life, and it's inspired me to come up with this show. Another thing that was told to me in Avignon, I use, of course, music for this show, and a girl from Hong Kong said the music matches the show perfectly, which is nice because the tracks are in Chinese. So I have an idea for some of the tracks what the singer was actually saying. Okay, that's about it. It's getting late. I need to go to this other venue, Banshee Labyrinth. Maybe even shoot another video for my other YouTube channel. Don't think I have time to do that. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Anyway, so this is it for the Edinburgh Fringe. For the people that are following these videos to the end, subscribe, like them, and to all the people out there, wherever you are, enjoy life. Ciao.